Well, hello everybody and welcome to the XD Creative Challenge. I'm your host, Jesse Showalter. We got people jumping into the chat right now like Stroofy Roo, Bruce Gonzalez, Umacorn is here, and Sam Peterson is moderating. If you're watching this somewhere else like on YouTube, come on over to Behance. That's where the party's at. That's where we're doing the XD Creative Challenge. And while you're here, you can jump in and you can download starting files in the description of this video. You can always go back and watch the replays and partake in these challenges by hitting the big blue button at behance.net/challenge/XD. Make sure you scroll down to the bottom as well. You can hit chat with the community. That will get you into the Discord where you can turn in your project files, get some feedback, have some fun, meet some people. And speaking of projects and files, let's jump in to our starting file for the day. We are going to have a fun one today because we are in the midst of 36 days of typography, where we are celebrating typography, playing with typography, and just all around enjoying and loving typography. And so today's challenge is going to be to learn how to use some parallax effects or create some parallax effects to create a fun website header, giving our typography some dimension. So we're going to explore some typography together, and then we're going to bring that typography to life and make it chef's kiss absolutely amazing. Got some inspiration down there for you, and always your resource booklet that is made out of components and states, so you can come through and just cycle through to get different resources through our different states there. All right, and there's some more information on the page, but we have a starting file, and I've gone ahead and added to the starting file. I just went shopping a little bit for some typography. Where did I go shopping, you might be asking yourself? Over on fonts.adobe.com. I found this I just want to share with you. Let's just nerd out on typography for a second. I found a couple of packs and special pieces of typography that I really love. This is the Fonts by Women pack, which I think is amazing, just to take a moment and celebrate some of this amazing typography that's been curated, created, and presented just to honor talented women designers in the industry. So I might be using some of these today. I found another one. This one is the I Love Sans pack, which is celebrating some beautiful sans serif. I especially like this one, the Dharma Gothic. I just look at how cool these look. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna use them. I love them. Termina Black. Ooh, I like it. It's thick, it's chunky, it's amazing. It has all sorts of character to it. I found this one as well. This is the New Naturalism. And did you know you can kind of like sample the text in here inside of Adobe Fonts, which is always cool. You can check things out and see how things look. So we might be using some of those. This Otherworldly Visions, I really like this Anisette STD. I'm definitely using that today, as well as Lisbeth Display Regular. Has kind of a groovy vibe to it. Here's Anisette in all of its glory. Has so many fonts, so many weights and different styles. Always make sure on Adobe Fonts you scroll down, see the recommendations that are similar that you might really like. And if you like them, I just go ahead and activate all fonts, and boom, Adobe CC is going to sync that across my computer, which is really nice. I also have a couple of images that I might use that just celebrate some really cool typography. We're going to throw together an experimental page that is just doing its thing. And you can see I have a couple of those fonts selected. This is Operata 32, Lisbeth Display, and Anisette STD. And we are going to, I got this really cool color palette down here. So I'm going to grab all these, Command-Shift-Y, and come over to our colors and pop all those in so we can use those. Those are going to be really nice. And I tell you what, I'm just going to grab all of these and just character style them. And sizing, who cares about sizing? We're not worrying about that right now. Let's move these down. In the background, I don't know if you can see on the stream, but it's very subtle. There's just like a nice kind of noise texture there. It has kind of like a blue overlay. And when we click into this background mask that we have going, you can see there's the mask shape, there's the noise, you have a blue overlay, and we have a couple of these real subtle little blurred ellipses inside that are just giving it little pop, little kind of interesting areas, so kind of fun. I'm going to take Anisette STD, I think, actually, and let's just hit T for text, or typography, one might say. And let's do typography here. I will type that up there, and then Command-Shift-Y. Let's go back in and make sure we're using our Anisette. We love it. It looks really nice. I'm going to shrink this down, And we are going to get really fun and experimental today. So we're not worried too much about sizing and spacing, but I figured it'd be fun to throw this up here. Just a fun little header that we'll make for our website. Okay. And then over here on this side, let's do a couple of links. Let's do like home. And then this is all extra bold. So let's bring this down to maybe regular. And this is also an extra bold. Let's bring this down to just normal bold. And let's bring the size of this down to about 16. And we'll bring this one up to about 20. Okay. And I'm going to, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag another one out here and just say, I don't know, celebrate, because we want to celebrate some typography. Actually, let's do something like this. Font packs. There we go. We're just kind of pulling some inspiration. I'm going to take both of these. I'm actually going to fill them with our kind of like that peach color that's there. And we don't need these to be all uppercase. And you'll see, check this out. This Aniset has this really interesting thing where when some things are uppercase and some things are lowercase, it actually changes the width. So you can see here's a lowercase n right here, and then here's an uppercase n right next to it, which is kind of cool. So we can just make sure that everything is lowercase on these so that, boom, font packs, and it's trying to capitalize because Adobe's so smart. It's like, let me capitalize things, but we don't need that right now. So let's grab both of these, group them together. Let's throw them inside of a stack. Stack is just going to organize the spacing and keep everything nice and tidy, right? So we're spacing it horizontally, and we can control the spacing here. You can always come in and you can edit it manually as well. But we'll just, oh, watch out now. Let's do something like 40 pixels of spacing. We want a little bit more, maybe like 50. Good. And what I love about stacks and why you might want to use stacks is because the moment you copy and paste and add another one in, boom, it's perfectly spaced. You know, and let's see, let's do something like lessons. Always trying to capitalize. I shouldn't though. Okay. Let's do one more. Let's just do a simple contact. Okay. And boy, is it trying to capitalize. Okay, here we go. And let's see, how far away are we spaced from the edges here? We're about 36 and 31. Let's do 30 and 36. Okay, and we'll balance the other one out. Bring it over to the side. Be about 36 and 30 from the top. Beautiful, wonderful. We have a little header going on here. Make sure everything is aligned perfectly. Group it together. And now we have the top of our site. Now we want to just we want to really hyper focus on typography here. So I'm going to grab Operetta and let's do a nice big piece in here that says something like, I don't know, a celebration of parallax and animation. How about that? We'll do different lines because we want to be able to parallax animate different things here. So we'll do a celebration. Okay, let's put that, let's do something a little interesting here. We'll go kind of off center it over here to the left, and then we'll off center to the right. And when I do that, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're kind of creating a mock grid, just something we can line things up. And because I don't want to fully turn on my grids right now, I'm just going to hover over the left-hand side of my artboard here, and I'll grab a guide and I'll draw that in. We can do another one and drag it to the other side. So we have at least a little bit of rhyme or reason, right? Let's drag it in right there. Beautiful. And now we know where we can kind of line things up. Now, if our text is a little too big, that's fine. We could shrink it down. We'll grab it from the corner. And because this is auto fit text, it's going to scale down really nicely. So we'll do a celebration of typography like that. And let's just right align this text. We're being really playful right now, okay? And then we'll do another one down here, and we'll say, let's get a little ampersand in there, and parallax. Let's do one more. Why not do one more? Animation. Okay. All right. Now they're all, it's a little bit big, so we are going to just bring it down a little bit more, but I like it being big. I think we need to add some color in here, and we need to add a little bit of visual interest. So I have a really cool, fun idea. We're going to layer some typography, but first, before we do that, I'm going to grab all 4 pieces of these and then just balance them. And I'm going to grab everything except that top one, and I'm going to use that peach color. Celebration of typography and parallax animation. Cool, cool, cool. Let's bring, what was the other one we had? This Lisbeth display. All right, let's bring that down and out of the way. I'm going to pop one of these in. I'm going to make it our peach color. And actually what we want to do is, because this Lisbeth display currently has no fill, you can see if I did fill it, it looks something like that. We actually want to apply our color, our peach color, to the border. So to do that, you actually need to right click on the color in your assets and apply to the border color. Okay, something like that. Now let's bring the opacity of this way down, and we'll type something interesting in there. Like let's do just the word typography, and we'll do some off canvas kind of asymmetrical fun stuff in here with typography. We'll make this really big. We've dropped the opacity down to like 16. Let's make it like, ooh, even less, like 12. We just want it to be just barely visible. Okay, so we'll kind of lead it off canvas, and then we'll bring the other part of it around the other side. That looks kind of cool and fun. And then let's put the word like animation here. Same thing, we'll like lead it off and we'll bring it around the side here. Okay, now here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this, it says we were talking about making a header, but do we need to make a header? Let's make an entire website to animate. Okay, to do that, we're stretching it out here just a little bit, and you can see that my background is kind of disappearing. So I need to come into the mask and just make a few edits here. Okay, I'm gonna spin my noise layer and just make it a little bit bigger so that it stretches across the entirety of my project. It's all going to be masked in there because that's how masks work, and they're awesome. We're going to do the same thing with our blue cover. We're going to drag our blue overlay down. We need to make sure that our mask is exposing all of that, and we don't need to mess with those little spots of color in there. We can just keep those as is. Let's lock the background so we don't mess with it anymore. And that's a pretty good start. So I'm actually gonna pull these down and separate them just a little bit. Give me a little bit of space to work in. Okay, that could be fun. And now I'm thinking I want some images to kind of scroll up. So let's draw some rectangles and plan for some cool images. Okay, some typography inspired images. I'm gonna grab that. And what's a good one to bring in? I really liked this one, wake up. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so we'll do something like that, make it a little bit bigger. And then I think this is where our Anisette STD is gonna come in. So let's do something like be bold, and we'll make it really big because we're talking about being bold here. And this is where we might just play a little bit with some of those different Anisette sizes. And then I think we might even convert this into a path so we can get even extra fancy with it. Okay, so why don't we do something like this? I'm gonna take the whole thing and I'm gonna lowercase it like that. That could be pretty cool. And then let's do uppercase on the L. Let's experiment with doing a different size though, shall we? Let's do like light right here. Ooh, light's a little too light. Let's go regular. Okay, that could be kind of cool. And then let's jump from Anisette STD to the petite version here. And let's go bold, and we'll go uppercase for the E. Okay, and let's see what we can get here. Does it look really similar? Maybe. Maybe it does. Let's try something like that. Okay, so we're experimenting and having fun. If you're not used to experimenting and playing with type that's outside of your comfort zone, I don't even know if I love this. I'm just having fun as we go. You should have some fun with typography. Now I'm gonna do a fun thing in XD. I'm gonna go up to object, go down to path, and I'm going to convert to path. Now what's cool is as we're animating, we might be able to shrink these and kind of like, I don't have a better word. I was gonna say expand, but in my mind I was thinking boyoyoing. We're gonna boyoyoing it and have some fun with it, okay? So we could do something like that. Fergie says, hey, what's up? I say, hey, what's up right back to you, Fergie. And everybody else that is in the chat. Let's do another one here and do the word create. Be bold, create. All right, we'll do that one like that. And let's have just, again, a little bit of fun inside of there with, we'll make that one light, and we'll make this one just the lowercase version. Boom, like that. For the T there. Let's go uppercase T. Yeah, okay. It's starting to look a little bit like a serial killer letter, if I'm gonna be honest. That's okay though. I'm okay with it. Let's go all one style. You don't, it's this fun kind of like warping of text. You really got to be careful because you don't want it to go that extra like step and start to actually look like serial killer letters. You want it to look kind of fun. Okay. All right, we'll stop there. That's vibing well with me. And then let's do the same thing. Let's go up at object, path, and convert to path, which is Command 8 if you want to do the hotkey for that. So let's bring this up. I'm actually going to bring the photo in front of it like this. And why don't we soften? I'll bring this text behind it. I'm going to soften the edge just a little bit and then take this border off. That's looking a little weird. I'm going to add some drop shadow to it, and I'm just going to blur that out and bring up the opacity just a touch. How much do we need? Just a little bit so we can really get that dimensionality there. Okay. Now that's kind of fun. It's not the end all be all, but what we're really working towards is just to try to figure out how to have some fun with the typography and do some parallax stuff. So let's bring in a couple more of these fun images here. Let's do that one and that one. And I'm going to shrink this image down. It's masked, so it's kind of adjusting for me, which is amazing. Thank you, Adobe XD, for adjusting automatically. And I'm going to put this down here. Now, when I'm thinking about all of my text and my photos, I need to be thinking in almost like in scenes, right? So we have stretched our artboard all the way out, but I know in my mind, see where this this little line is right here? That is the vertical height or the browser height of my, or like the viewport height, excuse me, of my prototype. It's going to mimic like that above the fold of a website. So after I'm done, I'm going to group everything together, and then I'm going to shrink that back up so that I can move things around in the canvas, and I get this amazing, cool kind of like vibe of parallax. You'll see the trick. You're like, what are you talking about, Jesse? You will see. All right, why don't we bring this over to the side, at least be hanging on to our little bit to our rulers and our guidelines over there. Let's do one more. We've kind of ignored, what was this one? The Lisbeth display. So let's do one more, and then we will fill it in this time, and we will shrink it down. And let's go back to white for the color here. And so let's say, let's do like our story thing. I don't know, something like that, right? And then you could actually do a little bit of like proper, a little bit of proper typography here, where underneath we might introduce like another nice simple like sans serif, something like Poppins. I'll bring it down to a legible size, and we have regular. And what we really need is some lorem ipsum, but I'm going to do some auto height text here really quickly, like that, and like that. And I tell you what, let's grab our prompt here, and we'll just use that as our lorem ipsum. So I'm going to pop that in, and our line height is so insane right now. So let's get in there and fix the line height and do that. And then if you ever see in Adobe XD this little bottom like red dot, that means, yeah, your text is cut off. We'd love to help you do that. All you have to do is double click on it, and it will expand to the size that you need it to be. This text is still really massive. So let's do something like this. And then I think why it's looking so funky to me is because the character spacing is insane. So let's drop that down to a reasonable size so it looks like some normal body copy, shall we? Okay, that works for me. So we have a few items, and again, we are going to have just insane amounts of like control and fun over everything. So the first thing we need to do is we need to look at all of our layers that we have here. I'm going to move out of the way so you can see. You have every single layer here. It's important because we're going to do an artboard to artboard animation. So we have our background. Let's make sure that that's unlocked, because we might even want to move the background a little bit, possibly, right? So let's think about doing that. And I'm going to group everything together. Every single layer, we're just going to group it. Boom, it's in a group. I don't even care about naming it. But then I'm going to take my artboard, and I'm going to just zip it right back up to where that line disappears. Okay, now you have the start of your prototype and your animation, right? Okay, next thing we want to do is we want to drag this over. Okay, now I'm gonna extend these down so you can see again, right? So we need to be thinking kind of like artboard to artboard here. Let's do one more. I need to be thinking about where things enter and where things exit, because what I'm going to be doing is grabbing the entire group that we made and moving it up, probably minus the background, right? We want everything besides the background to move, and then we might be able to actually move the background a little bit and as we do that, we're going to start moving things out of the way within that group. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But for instance, this image is not going to be visible at first. So why don't we move a few of these around, because we like where it's ending up over there. Okay, and then we're going to do a little bit of, remember we said a little boing. So we're going to pull the be bold out like that. And why don't we bring this in and down? Okay, and when it animates out, or when it moves up, how about we bring our text out of the way? You won't even have to see it all because it'll move out of view, out from the viewport. Okay, so we'll just move those out of the way, and we have these real subtle pieces of typography in the background. So we could, I don't know, we could do all sorts of stuff with those, but let's play with it a little bit. We'll just move them like that, okay? All right, and you'll see exactly what I'm saying right now. I'm gonna get rid of this one because we'll move from state to state. I'm gonna grab both of them, and I'm gonna bring the bottom of the artboard up just a little bit like that. And then, you guessed it, I'm gonna bring everything in my group up. So this is the thing that is now in view, like that, right? And then let's grab our background, and let's move the background just a little bit, like so. Now when we come in and we do our prototyping, we're gonna move our artboard over to the side a little bit so we can have some fun. I'm gonna grab the entire artboard, and I'm gonna animate from one to the other. Now, here's where we're gonna have the prototyping fun. I'm gonna say not on tap, but how about on keys and gamepad? Let's use our keypad today. I'm going to click inside the key, and I'm just gonna press down on my keyboard. That adds the down arrow in there. I'm gonna auto animate, and let's do ease in and ease out. And we wanna make it last a decent amount of time, the actual animation. So how about like 1.2 seconds? And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, that sounds awful. That's way too much. I'm gonna animate my way back, but this time using the up key on the keyboard. And the same kind of style. Let's make this the home here, and we'll name it type animation for our flow. Let's press play, and let's see what we get. All right, so I should be able to press down now on my keyboard, and it's just too fast. I want to slow it down. I want it to be really vibey, really fun. So let's go more like 2 whole seconds there, and on the way back we'll do the same thing. 2 whole seconds. Now, there's different ways to animate and to adjust the timing. One of them might be to adjust the actual time of the animation. The other one might be to adjust the distance that the elements travel from artboard to artboard, because that's going to speed it up or slow it down a lot as well. Let's try that one more time. Press down on the keyboard. Nice, smooth kind of animation that's happening there. Now, one thing I'm seeing that I really want to fix is I really want to stretch that be bold text out even more. Like, let's stretch it out even more, and this one, let's condense it even more and bring it down, and we should get more of an effect there. And actually, to see that effect kind of come to life a little bit more, instead of ease in, ease out, let's try bounce or wind up. Actually, let's try wind up. So now we should be able to press, it's going to wind up. Okay, I wish it would wind up or bounce on the other end too. Maybe we can do a bounce, and that's what we're actually looking for. Bounce. Oh, no. Go back. Get away from bounce. Let's try snap. We're just going to play with easings right now. Ooh, that's a little bit better. That's actually a little bit more like what we were looking for, but it's very quick. So now I'm going to slow it down. See, adjust the easing, change the animation type, change the timing, play with it, right? Play with it. Let's try one more time and go, what were we doing? Snap at 4 seconds. Try one more time, and we should be able to go up. It's a little bit slower. Has a little bit of motion. Maybe it's too much motion. I don't know, but I can see that bold kind of squeeze in a little bit, which is kind of fun. Okay. And I think you get the gist. We could do one more, right? Your next step would be to take your most previous state of artboard, right? And then grab all the elements, all the assets inside, move it up. Ooh, not the background though. Everything else like that. Move it up. And then you need to be thinking about on exit, what do you want all of these elements to do, right? We want like this photo to move out of the way, or this to move up more, or this to stretch out, and this to kind of move up. And then you can mess with your background and make your background go up however much you want. Now you're getting that parallax effect. So we can go back to prototype. Boom, it should keep everything there. Let's just make sure we're moving down. And here, we'll make sure that we're moving up on our keyboard. Let's press play and we get some nice parallax easing that's happening there. Press again, whoop, just like so. Yeah, I like it. I like the effect. I'm having fun right now. We're exploring typography and a little bit of animation, and you can see the slower you move some elements and or slower or less distance you move them, or the faster or further, you're gonna get this parallax effect even more, which is pretty fun. Hey, with that being said, let's take a look at some of the submissions from yesterday. This one was submitted by Yuya Yang, a beautiful vintage website. She even went through and created all the color palette, beautiful case study. Oh, I love this effect. It's so cool creating these three-dimensional boxes. That is phenomenal. Let's do one more because we are just about out of time. This one is from Etor, and this is the retro food from yesterday. Let's take a look. We got maybe a little Lottie animation in there with the cassette tape. All right, let's go retro. Let's go vintage. Ooh, look at that fun little animation style. Oh my gosh, how beautiful is that? Oh, that's really, really good stuff. You are just utilizing every aspect, every strength that XD has to bring it together. Cool hovers, cool animations, just cool micro interactions. I love every single bit of it, and I love that you joined me today for the XD Creative Challenge. Thanks so much for being here. Again, I'm your host, Jesse Showalter, and I will see you right back here, same place, same time for the XD Challenge. We'll see you then.